any emergency, including economic or unnamed, the president can basically suspend Congress and do anything he wishes. So a lot of people are freaking out over NDAA. That's because people are starting to wake up. But there's already far worse stuff on the books. It's just that they haven't been able to implement it. So take heart, folks. Just because they put something on paper doesn't mean that they can actually implement it. That's why they wanted to not make this a political debate. That's why they're scared that Ron Paul is introducing legislation to repeal the bad provisions, is because they know they're standing on sand, we're standing on firm rock. All we've got to do is stand up against these people, and we'll be able to start reversing what they're doing.
When do you think they planned this? How long ago, Alex? 10 years, 20 years ago, 100 years ago? How
we
far
know
back?
For a fact that in 1913, as you've exposed with G. Edward Griffin and others, a private banking cartel took over the issuance of currency in the United States. But they didn't have full control. And slowly they've bought up society. Slowly they've taken our military and police and general public and by increment trained us to give up our basic liberties and freedoms and domesticate us. Now the pendulum is starting to swing back, but Eisenhower gave his famous "Beware the military-industrial complex" speech. But in the speech he said that it was run by a scientific, technological elite that did not have the public's interest at heart. In that speech, he explained that the eugenicist technocrats were in control of the military, and I think the plan really got codified from some of the writings of Eisenhower in 1960 or so. And even though he was an establishment person, he wasn't overtly evil, and so he spoke out against it. And that was when DARPA was founded. That's when the military had some drills practicing putting down U.S. insurrections. And so they kind of came to Eisenhower with this plan, and he said no. So I think it was really codified by then. It was the Joint Chiefs of Staff that came to President Eisenhower. That's a good question. And said, let's stage terror attacks. This is declassified, Operation Northwoods. They said, let's stage terror attacks and blame it on the Cubans and the Russians and have World War III. And he said no and fired them. But if you go back, it was two-time Congressional Medal of Honor winner Smedley Butler, who was in line to be the Marine Corps Commandant. He was approached by major U.S. banks, and this is on record. This is New York Times, London Guardian. There's video clips, film clips of him testifying in Congress in the mid-1930s, and they came to him, some of the wealthiest families in America still today, and said, we've got 500,000 military and police who are ready to stage a coup. We'll make you president. We're going to link up with Hitler. And the McCormick-Dickstein committee hearings exposed it all, and he played along with the plot for about 2 months till he got all the info, and some of the people were arrested, but some of the families were so rich that it kind of got swept under the rug. But we almost got taken over by an internal Hitler coup through the military, but Smedley Butler, true hero, stopped him.
But with laws like the NDAA, anything could happen.
Well, that's the big threat. A nuke goes off or a bioweapon gets released. Maybe it's natural. Maybe real terrorists did it. Probably manufactured, probably staged, if you follow the pattern. Look who stands to gain from it. And yes, out of that fear, out of that time of crisis, then we're sold on, we can't have people on the radio saying the government did this in this time of crisis. Why, Chicago just got hit by a low-yield nuke, hypothetically.
Mm-hmm.
Either you shut up or you're going to be arrested. And basically how this happens is people they've assessed who they know aren't going to shut up. They're just going to arrest or kill. They're going to send a hit team to kill certain people, and that's on record. It's part of the COINTELPRO program and part of the COG, Continuity of Government program. Others are going to get a phone call, and they're going to be told, this is your last warning, shut up and go along with this. And if we give in to this attempted coup by the military-industrial complex and the foreign banks that control it, if they pull the trigger on this, and if we give in, they win. If we speak out when they try to pull the internet kill switch and the talk radio EAS kill switch, they won't get away with it. And if we speak out beforehand, they're going to gauge things and not going to move with this program. This is a high-stakes brinksmanship with the New World Order who has a policy of imploding our economy by design. And so my point is, you don't get out of this by acquiescing or kneeling, folks. The only way we get out of this is going head on against the bully. You know, I learned when I was about 11 years old, I'd been in a, little Christian private school, somewhat sheltered. My dad didn't have enough money to keep me in private school. They put me in public school in Dallas. I got off the bus, 11 years old, and kids that were 4 or 5 years older than me who'd flunked over and over again. I mean, I'm talking about people in middle school who had mustaches were beating me up almost every day. But I'll tell you something, that's the best thing ever happened to me, because I learned it was best to just start swinging for the fences when somebody started trying to stop me, because, the teachers wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't go tattle. The point is, you don't give in to bullies. You stand up against them, and that's what we've got to do.
All right, let's go next to Scott, truck driving in Texas. You're on with Alex Jones. Go ahead, Scott.
Yes, sir.
Hey, buddy.
How you doing?
Good.
Basically my question is, I'm real concerned about the bioweapons and all that. And I heard Alex saying that he had recently built his own bunker and everything. And we got to stand up to these people of what they're doing. On July 23rd of 2009, I lost my 13-month-old little girl.
Oh.
She died in our home.
I'm sorry.
And it made me reevaluate my whole family life.
Sure.
And I love my children. I love my family. And I want to watch my daughters grow up to get married and all that. But if this happens in the next year or 10 years, I may not be able to see that. What can we do what can the regular Joe do on an individual level to stop these people from doing this? I mean, what can I do?
Well, I'll tell you, this is what happens with tyranny. As it gets more and more real and as it manifests itself, we've got a lot of friends, not just enemies. There are people throughout government, throughout media, throughout academia, throughout banking that are our friends. There are actually more good guys than there are bad guys. And so do what you're doing right now. Speak up, get involved, and realize you've got nothing to lose. The only way we lose is by going along with this. And you speak out, you get involved, you call into talk radio, you visit your city council.
And you stock up.
Well, sure. And when I say I have a bunker, I mean I have a place I can seal with food and water during an emergency for an extended period because I have small children.
Gun sales for Christmas out of sight, Alex.
Yeah, all-time record, 1.5 million instant checks. They estimate over 3 million guns sold.
People want to be protected.
Well, I saw a survey in USA Today, I think it was. They asked them, why are you buying these guns? And they said, don't trust the government, worried about collapse, civil unrest.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know what? We are a wall to them. And they've been hitting up against this wall. And I have a feeling, Alex, that the wall is getting stronger. And it's going to be very tough for them to bust through it.
No, I totally agree with you.
They're going to try, but it's going to be tough.
No, I totally agree with you. Listen, George, you know this. We talked about this stuff 10 years ago. People looked at us like we had, 10 heads. Now, the awakening is so explosive and so good, it's very heartening. But I want to warn people, because the global controllers realize power slipping from their hands, they're going to really try to do whatever they can, coming down on us with both feet to try to get us back in line. And like a bucking bronco, all we got to do is throw the New World Order off our back. They got to hold on a lot more than 8 seconds. And so
I love that analogy. I can see it now, huh?
Yes, sir.
Whoever they may be. But we have some of our suspicions. Alex, thanks. Get some sleep. I know you got a busy day on your own shows in the morning.
God bless you, George. Thank you so much for your courage. And nobody else is talking to an audience as big as yours and actually telling like it is. And God bless you and the whole Coast to Coast AM family and your great crew and all the wonderful listeners.
You got it. Alex Jones, Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.com. He truly is right at the forefront of all this information. I mean, he sees it. He's intuitive. He reads a lot, and everything he says, he doesn't create. He finds it. It's out there in newspapers. He sees it on TV, and he puts it together. He's a very smart guy. For Dan Galanti, Tom Danheiser, Lisa Lyon, Lex Lonehood, Sean Laudesor, Stephanie Smith, Ross Mitchell, George Knapp, John B. Wells, Ian Punnett, and Art Bell, I'm George Norrie. Somewhere out there on Coast to Coast AM. We'll see you on our next edition. Until then, be safe.